What's up, beasts? Today's video we're going to talk about men's mental health in CrossFit. We're going to start with episode 1. I'm going to talk about priorities. Here's a story from my life. So 2 years ago, I used to work in a place, telemarketing firm. If you know my story, you know which place, but we don't need to talk about that place. Now, nothing wrong with the place itself. It was specifically my priorities in life that led me from one thing to another. So I used to work quite heavily, 12 to 14 hours a day in the city, which the city was probably about 60 to 80 minutes of travel for myself. That's there, not including coming back. So probably almost 2 hours a day in just travel. So 12 hours of my day was spent working, 2 hours was spent traveling, which if you can do the maths is 14 hours a day. If that was at the minimum, that was if I didn't do overtime, whatever. So this led from one thing to another. Doing this from a long period of time, I put my health, the number one priority in anyone's life, on the back burner for work. I thought I was doing the right thing by making more money, by pursuing the career that I thought that I wanted to do, by really aiming to improve my standings in the workplace. And the cost of all this was not only my physical health, but my mental health. There was many nights I came home, barely slept, would sleep 5-6 hours a night, get up, go straight back to work again. And it also felt like I was in a vacuum, working 6 days, if not sometimes 7 days a week. I was just in a repetitive cycle of wake up, take the train, go to work, come home. And in the line of work that I was doing, it was also very mentally challenging in its own right. People yelling at you, people not wanting to pick up the phone, etc. This led from one thing to another. This led to me to not only think of myself as less than what I was, but also to not treat myself correctly. Obviously, I wasn't sleeping enough, so my testosterone levels were plummeting. I wasn't eating correctly. I was making poor choices on eating because I just didn't have the willpower to make the right choices. I was also working in a place that I thought I liked, but I actually at the time, I wasn't enjoying it all. I was away from home all the time. I never got to do anything I wanted to do. And pretty much my health declined to a point where, I started to break down. I was vulnerable. I was weak. I wasn't the person that I was before I started working at this place. So this was my story. This was my experience about not prioritizing myself over my career or my work or my family, whatever it may be. Now let's talk about how this relates to CrossFit. I have plenty of people that I interact with on a daily basis who are in the same situation that I just explained. For most of them, it's one of those situations where there's to a point they can't really change it in too many ways without affecting one of their other priorities, which might have been family, or it might be, materialistic things like their house, their cars, etc., because they have loans. So it can be very hard. It can be very hard to get yourself in and out of a situation like this without completely altering another aspect of your life. But what I specifically want to tell you is you need to set priorities in your life. Priorities that no matter what, when they come up, that no matter what the alternate option is, you can select these priorities, knowing that you know that these things are the most important things to you in your life. Here's a good example. My number one priority right now is CrossFit. Back then, it was career, but right now it's CrossFit. So let's say a good example is my mate Joe asked me to come to the movies. Hey Ty, let's go to the movies today. I say, look Joe, I'd love to, but I have to go to the gym now and train. What we can do is go to the movies later. If Joe says yes or no, whatever, that's his problem. If he's my true friend, he will understand because my priority is to my training. Now, priorities always change from time to time, and you obviously will have things that obviously outweigh other priorities. So, in the past, CrossFit wasn't my number one, it was my career. And these days, it's kind of done a bit of a backflip, so now it is CrossFit. Other priorities for mine include family, which is number 2. My YouTube, which is you guys, number 3. And then going down the list, I start to get other things like, money, bills, etc. So all the other things come down the list. So no matter what, in most of my situations, training comes first, CrossFit comes first. For you, it might be different. It might be family, might be like I said, materialistic things, etc. Everyone's priorities are different, and no priority is an incorrect priority as long as it's the correct one for you. But I feel like for most people, being vulnerable is not a bad thing. Being aware that one of your priorities is affecting your overall health, your mentality, your lifestyle, and even your decisions on a daily basis, maybe it's a good time to have a look at yourself and have a look at what's happened since you've chosen your career or your work as the priority. If that's the thing that you want to do to the day you die, go for it. Absolutely hammer it to death, even if it means that you don't prioritize your health. But for the majority of men, health is key. Now, what can you do to set yourself in the right direction as far as priorities go? Well, here's some small steps that I've used and that I've also listened to from Ben Bergeron's podcast, which I'll leave in the link down below if you want to listen to that, which is a great podcast about priority. A couple of things that you can do to get your priorities in right. Number one, which is probably the most easiest thing to do, is write your priorities down. Have a list, have a whiteboard, have a chalkboard, something on your phone maybe, a list of your priorities that you can write down. Now you might be like, Ty, I don't know my priorities, or I'm not too sure what's going to come first. Well, in your current situation right now, write down 3 to 5 priorities in a list, an order of most important to least important of priority on a list. Your priorities may change, your priorities may alter, so that's going to be fine. Then they always will. You know, in the last, like I said, 2 years, my priorities have changed too. In the next 2 years, CrossFit may not be my number one priority. Maybe my family, maybe my YouTube, could be anything. So have a set priorities, have a list of priorities that you can choose, and try and see if in your daily life that these things fall into that place. So let's say that situation comes up with good old Joe asking you to the movies, or for most of you guys it will be the pub. He's asking you to go to the pub. Will you prioritize your family, your health, your career over the boys? So tip number 2, probably the best thing to do for yourself is take little steps, baby steps into your health journey. Now, if you were like me and had no free time, 0 time, you just feel like there was no point you could get anything done without obviously affecting your job, your family, etc. So best small steps you can take is just little things at a time. So for example, maybe instead of taking the escalator, you'll take the stairs every day. Get that little bit more physical activity. On your lunch breaks, instead of going to the vending machine, go for a walk to 15 minutes to a shop, to like 7-Eleven or something like that. Make that extra effort to take the distance to give yourself a bit more physical activity. If you struggle to come to the gym 5 days a week, maybe aim at 3, Monday, Wednesday, Friday. Go for 3 days a week. On your weekends, do something active with the family or even by yourself, like active recovery stuff. Go to the beach, take a hike, go for a walk in some nature. Small things, doesn't have to be 60-minute Murph, or you don't have to train like a games athlete like Matt Fraser. Like, they get paid to do that. That is what they want to do. That is their career, that is their life. Unfortunately for you, this may not be your life, but you still want to make it a part of your life because you enjoy the sport of CrossFit. And I agree, it's a great sport, but small steps, even with your nutrition as well. You know, don't jump straight into 1,200 calories a day, and you've probably just cut down from 2,500. Start by, instead of going to McDonald's, go somewhere else, like a U-Foods meal, or start pre-making some food and bring it to work. Like, small steps with your exercise and health will make it so much easier. They say 21 days to make a habit, 9 days to make a lifestyle. If you're not going to commit to something for that amount of time, obviously it's going to be too hard for you to commit because you've gone in head first too fast. It's just not going to happen. So take small steps, ease yourself into it, and once you have gotten that little bit more confidence, you start to get that routine down pat, it starts to become easier, then add more. Then go 5 days a week. Then start to train on weekends. Then start to track your calories in MyFitnessPal, etc. Third and final tip to prioritizing your life and your health will be not being afraid to be vulnerable. I know for most of us, We've grown up in a society where men have to be macho, men have to be tough, they can't have weakness. Men who show weakness are pussies, they're bitches. But we're also in a society these days where men should be able to cry in public. Men should be able to be vulnerable and allow themselves to talk about their feelings. There's mental health groups specifically for men. I see them on Instagram all the time. There's the Men That Can project. It's actually a local project in our area that I've seen on Instagram, that men come together and talk about problems that they have. And obviously, if you're a woman, you can take some advice out of this video. My target is males. And for most of them, they have to put up with your crap. Nah, kidding. I'm just joking. But there's definitely plenty of things out there for men. But if you don't feel like you have the confidence to go out, if you don't have the ability or the time to go to one of these events, or to find someone like a psychologist or maybe a close friend that you can talk to, what you can do is message me. Send me a message through Instagram, through Facebook. My Facebook's Tyler Hamilton. You'll find me easily. Instagram, Tyler J Hamilton. It's just at Tyler J Hamilton. Super easy to find. Or you can even send me a private message through YouTube or a comment down below, and I'll get back to you. Because I always find the hardest thing is to share your feelings with someone else, and someone else you can't trust or you don't know. Now, I've opened myself up to you guys. I've been super vulnerable today, so don't feel bad. I mean, you guys have watched this channel long enough that I'm going to talk enough about me that you know pretty much more about me than I know about myself. So if you're feeling a little bit low, feeling a little bit lost, and you don't know how to prioritize your life and your health right now, send me a message. I'll get back to you as soon as I can, and we'll have a chat about it. We'll see what we can do to get you into the right direction. Hope you guys enjoyed the video. Leave a subscribe if you did, and share it with someone who you feel like maybe needs that push to prioritize their health in life. This is week 1 of many of our men's mental health and in CrossFit. Hope you enjoyed the video. Stay a beast.